Our very first story, patients who visit the large general hospital here in Accra have made a passionate appeal for authorities there to repair its broken down elevators to ease the frustrations they have to go through to access medical care. The multi-story facility has been without an elevator since theirs broke down several years ago. As a result, patients including women in labor, those scheduled for surgery and oxygen cylinders are carried up the stairwells. But the patients say the problem needs to be urgently addressed as it is life-threatening. Hannah Odami has more in this report.
This is the 20-year-old malfunctioning lift at the General Hospital. Ordinarily, this lift should have carried patients and their relatives to the inpatient, the pharmacy department, the labor ward, the theater, the obs and gynae, and other departments in the hospital. But with it non-functioning for 20 years, how has this affected the hospital? With me to discuss is the administrator, Mr. Philip Korto. He joins me. Your hospital hasn't had a lift for 20 years. How have you managed?
It has been a challenge that we have been dealing with. For instance, the pregnant women climb to the last floor, where we have the labor ward and where we have the operating theater, meaning that they have no choice than to climb up there for the services. In some occasions where they cannot walk, we are compelled as hospital workers to carry them up. We use oxygen cylinders up there. We carry them on a daily basis up and down because the elevator has not been working.
But what have you done as a hospital yourself to try and fix this?
We have exposed the problem to the general public. We have written letters to the authorities. But the point is that it actually needs replacement, not necessarily a repair, because the technical assessment on it revealed that it's beyond repairs. But we do not have what it takes to buy anyone to fix. That's how come we are dealing with it this way.
Do you have any assurance as to how soon you might have this?
The assurances have been there, but unfortunately, we haven't gotten to the point where it's replaced.
So in the interim, the pregnant woman will continue to be lifted up, the cylinders will continue to be carried up?
Unfortunately, yes.
Do you have people stationed to be carrying those who need to be carried up?
Not necessarily. We have our hospital orderlies. Sometimes you will see nurses helping the mothers, not necessarily carrying them, but supporting them in the armpits to be able to climb or descend.
And there I just see a pregnant woman who is climbing the stairs. I see she's in a bit of difficulty. Let's go have a conversation with her.
As you can see, as a pregnant woman, sometimes if you are due and you are climbing the steps, you feel dizzy, sometimes you get tired and you have to stop for a while before coming up. And also if some emergency happen like that, some people have to carry the pregnant woman up, and so it's difficult. I wish if we get a lift, it will help.
And are you afraid for yourself because you are almost due that it may happen to you? Or you are praying against it?
Yeah, I'm afraid. Sometimes my heart beats that even if I'm going down, coming up, I become afraid and my heart starts beating, so I'm afraid.
Authorities at the General Hospital say its internally generated funds cannot build a new modern elevator for the hospital. The malfunctioning elevators at this hospital have been on the tables of successive governments and health ministers. A decision to fix a new one is yet to be taken. Until their requests attract some attention, patients and their relatives will continue to laboriously walk up and down the stairs, even in labor, and at worst, pray for kind hospital staff who will carry them when their strength fails to carry them through. I am Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Well, there were frustrated patients elsewhere, this time at the Ridge Hospital, where they were seeking care on Tuesday but were turned away because the hospital is struggling to provide services due to a strike by nurses and midwives there. The over 500 nurses and midwives have laid down their tools to demand unpaid salaries. The problem has been attributed to challenges with the new payroll system.
The 556 nurses and midwives laid down their tools in protest of the unpaid March salary. Patients seeking medical care at the hospital were turned away as the outpatient department was not receiving new cases, but attending to inpatient and emergency cases. The aggrieved nurses, who fear they will be victimized, say hospital officials did not heed to their calls for their complaint to be addressed. But officials at the hospital say they cannot be faulted. Administrator Emmanuel says the error was as a result of a new payroll system introduced by the Accountant General's department.
We had a problem validating our electronic payment voucher for the nursing staff, which has resulted in the entire nursing staff not being paid for the month of March 2015. When our attention was brought that they were not paid for the month, we quickly made a representation to the Controller and Accountant General to find out the issue, and also whether it was possible to do a supplementary payment voucher for them. Controller told us that it was not possible, but however, they assured us that they will pay them the March salary together with the April salary in April. So they will rectify the anomaly. So one weekend we engaged the leadership of the nurses. So what we told them was that management could arrange with their banks to give them overdraft or advance salary. Yeah, advance salary in lieu of what will be paid to them the following month. So that when they will write to all the banks, if possible, we'll meet the bank managers, explain the difficulty to them so that they can pay them. Then the nurses were not comfortable with that arrangement because they said there will be bank charges at the end of it all, and they are not ready to bear those bank charges.
Ridge Hospital officials have been meeting with the heads of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association to resolve the impasse.
And what management has decided to do now is to advise the nurses to take some bank overdrafts, and then they will see how to resolve the matter. But the nurses are not in agreement with this because the commission of the overdraft management said they aren't going to pay. And so that is where we have come to. And then we are addressing the matter. We are meeting the nurses tomorrow. And management will also be engaged in a discussion and see whether they will indeed take the overdraft.
Until then, patients who go to the Ridge Hospital seeking services of these essential staff will be turned away until the hospital meets their demands. Matilda Pumaga for Joy News, Accra.
Police in Tesano and Accra vowed to go all lengths to apprehend a 28-year-old man who is alleged to have deformed his girlfriend by pouring acid on her. It is not clear the motive for the attack, but the 22-year-old victim, Anita Otima, says the boyfriend is believed to have acted upon a revelation given him by an evangelist. Anita says she was sleeping in her room in May last year during a blackout when the boyfriend came in and poured the acid on her. Joy News' Beatrice Edu followed up the case close to a year after it had been reported to the police. After the victim said the law enforcement agencies had done virtually nothing to bring her attacker to justice. But the Tesano Divisional Police Commander ACP Francis Obwaje Nyako says that is untrue.
We had intelligence that the suspect might be hiding in Somenya or in Koko, and the police went there.
So how come it wasn't successful?
That was based on intelligence. That was the intelligence said we could locate the suspect at Somenya or in Koko.
That's interesting. Somebody would question the credibility of your intelligence then if you depended on it, moved to these places, and yet you were not successful.
Yes, you are right. But with intelligence, it does not mean that when you gather, you'll be able to achieve. At times, you achieve your targets off right, but at times too, it goes off target.
Again, some people think that the police have failed to do their job because it's almost a year since this incident happened. What do you say to that?
The police, we are on course. You saw the docket, we built the docket. This shows that we've done due diligence. We've built the docket up to date. You saw the pictures of the lady while she was at the hospital. The police visited her, took pictures as evidence. So we are assuring the family that we'll move heaven and earth to have this suspect apprehended and brought to book.
Pretty sad story. There are two journalists with the Ghanaian Times and the Ghana News Agency respectively sustained serious injuries in an accident at the on the Bole Damongo Road Tuesday morning. The two journalists, Yakubu Abdul Majid and Potopo Albert, were part of a team of journalists following the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Mama Yarga, on a tour of the district. A Ford bus in which they were traveling had its gearbox broken in the process of during the journey, running into a bridge in the process. The two are currently responding to treatment at the Bole District Hospital. Now, the recent rains continue to expose the deplorable state of roads in the country. But apart from the generally poorly constructed roads and those that have not really undergone any form of construction at all, there are some well-constructed ones that also become impassable when it rains. Derek Akosam went onto the Kaswa Malam Highway, where motorists suffer a similar fate because of the sighting of a quarry company close to the highway. He reports the quarry, though no longer being operated, gives motorists a lot of headache each time it rains.
The rains are here, and anytime it rains, commuters on this part of Accra, Kaswa to be precise, have a big headache. They have to deal with this every day of their lives, especially when they are going to work in the morning. The sand comes from up there on the hill where people quarry stones and all that. And so when it rains, the water from the rocks gush out, and then they spread the sand onto this part of the road. The road is a two-lane road, but from what you see, it has become a one-lane road because of the sand that has actually eaten one part of the road. It is a big eyesore. It's a problem that the Ghana Highway authorities will have to deal with, but there's nobody to do that. And so people who live around here have actually taken it upon themselves to find a remedy to this problem. It is not a lasting solution, but they have to help to get things done. Let me talk to the guy who has been collecting the sand. Boss, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. I am Levi Kwesi Nukunu.
And what do you usually do here?
Anytime it rains, the sand washes from the up to the down here. So we use our payloader to gather it and then collect it for the tipper trucks drivers. But of late, they say they don't like it unless maybe they find someone who is building and is occupying it with a failing. So as at now, when they came, they say they don't like it. It's too watered.
They say it's too porous.
Yes. So actually, that's why it's here. So
are you paid for doing this job?
No. Actually, we buy our fuel and then do it ourselves.
So how much does it cost you to do this every day?
Oh, sometimes we can buy fuel like 500 Ghana. 500
Ghana cedis just to do this job? Isn't that too much to be spending on something that you are not paid for?
Yeah, actually, it's because of our work. And sometimes they even reported us to the daily graphic that we have been causing it, but it's not from our end here. It's the stone cracker. From the stone where they crack the stone, that is where it has been coming from.
But over the years, what has been the response of the drivers who use this road?
Oh, actually, even when we are doing the work, they sometimes insult us, but we don't talk because we know we are Ghanaians and we are doing it for the country.
The Teachers and Educational Workers Union TEU of the University of Ghana say they are disappointed in the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission for failing to resolve a number of issues put before it. The aggrieved workers on Tuesday marched to the university administration to demand a resolution of their problems, especially their demand for a pay rise.
In a statement submitted by the chairman and secretary of TEU to the vice-chancellor of the University of Ghana, they asked for their salaries to be increased. The statement was received by the registrar on behalf of the vice-chancellor. According to the workers, there were some outstanding issues since 2013 yet to be resolved by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. They warned that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has until 30th April to respond to their grievances before they embark on a strike. The registrar assured the workers that the letter will be forwarded to the appropriate quarters for redress. Lord Harris Idasari for Joy News.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come in the bulletin, President Mahama is assuring the Electricity Company of Ghana will not be sold off. Stay tuned. Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister Designate Kwabena Minta Akando is proposing the inclusion of a criteria for measuring competence of municipal, metropolitan and district chief executives, their plan of action to address challenges facing the environment, as well as their action plan to prevent illegal mining.
And as you all recall, His Excellency the President constituted a presidential task force to clamp down on those who are involved in the galamsey. What is going on at the moment is that the ministry is constituting committees, mineral committees at the district level, so that they will get the local people involved in checking some of these things, and I'm all for it. Mr. Chairman, again, what probably if this committee clears me, I will also humbly suggest to my minister probably to push it at the cabinet level, is that I think that the MMDC should own this activity, so that if possible, Mr. Chairman, if possible, it could be one of the criteria for assessing our MMDCs. Because I say so, Mr. Speaker, because if you build all the schools, all the roads and all the schools and all the roads, schools and all the infrastructures, and then still you have your environment depleted, it's not worth it.
The Deputy Ministerial's designate also outlined plans to tackle the increasing depletion of Ghana's forest reserve when giving the nod.
Chairman, the rate at which the forest is getting depleted is quite alarming, and as part of His Excellency's transformational agenda, there's a policy to move from the consumptive approach to the non-consumptive approach, where the few that is left will be creating some ecotourism parks, and then the already degraded portions, they will release the portions to individuals, especially the communities around the forest reserve, to plant the trees. So in that case, we'll be replenishing the forest, so we'll get our economic trees back, and then again we'll be food sufficient, and so they will plant food, and then as a country we'll get food. Finally, it will also create employment for the people within those areas.
Also appearing before the committee were the Deputy Works and Housing Minister designate Yauduse, Ministry of Defense Kenneth Gilbert Ejay. Elsewhere, Interior Minister Marco Yongo says government will do whatever it takes to stop residents in the 3 regions in the north from resorting to violence to settle their differences. The Interior Minister's comments follow the killing of 2 Bunkrungu Nyonyo residents in renewed clashes in the town over the weekend. A number of houses were also set on fire in the disturbances. A 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew has been placed on the town until further notice to forestall further clashes. Marco Yongo decried the use of violence to settle disputes.
That is a worry not only to me, it's a worry to every concerned Northerner. Because we are always in the news, not for positive things, but for negative things. I sit here, I have to impose curfew on my people, and I feel saddened that I have to do this responsibility. But I'm optimistic that one day, very soon, we will get there. So I think that if you also play your role by helping to educate our unfortunate brothers who think the best way of solving a problem is rushing to the gun or using the barrel of the gun.
But the Interior Minister, they know the consequences. They know that under no circumstances must they use violence to settle disputes. So in this regard, where did the media go wrong?
Now, the media will have to do the sensitization, they have to do the education, because some of them, you may assume that they know the consequences. Some of them don't know the consequences. Some of them really don't know the consequences. And I think that it is our responsibility to educate them.
The Adaklu district in the Volta region is deficient in police personnel as well as police stations. The district, made up of about 53 communities, has only 1 police station at Adaklu Waya, which is being policed by less than 10 officers.
The station officer, Inspector Godwin Kotahi, noted policing in the district is a big challenge since the ratio of policemen to civilians is outrageous. The station does not have an official vehicle, but a concerned resident has given a motorbike to facilitate their work. The station has 3 offices, 2 cells furnished with toilet and bath, an armory and a charge office. There is no computer for compiling data, and so officers file only hard copies of documents. There is no camera for mark shots of suspects. Though provision has been made for water, the water tanks available can neither store nor supply water to sanitary facilities in the station due to shoddy work by the plumber. Interestingly, the station's armory was not locked when Joy News visited. However, residents are impressed with efforts of the police in enforcing law and order in the community. Nonetheless, they are pleading with the government to resource the police and provide the police with the requisite equipment to enhance their work.
They need vehicles so that the work is easy in the area. Because of lack of mobile vehicles, they delayed when complaints are given in the station. So I appeal to the government to supply them with vehicles.
Yo abeleke ufamo be adakuloje unamini district le adakulula security o alu police o unamila ulo fo doji alegbe.
The work of the police is encouraging, but there are only few of the officers around. The station does not have vehicles as well, making the work of the police difficult. We are pleading with the government to provide the Adakuluwaya police station with vehicle and more men to help combat crime in the district.
And more boy, I don't know one way. Damn it, kuku debe Ghana jiru dua nekpere nianu Adaku district mbe wana police obe watano ema ano doji be omano kuhire kakpole dona omo albe dona ona yingo.
Well, pupils of Ziave Lume EP Primary School are studying under some very poor structures that can actually be described as death traps. Built of clay, the over 40-year building has started developing cracks with some of its wooden structures decaying. Joining us is Fred Kwame Asari, filed this report.
Portions of the front ceiling are also falling off, posing danger to these youngsters. The classrooms have no doors or windows, leaving the pupils and teachers at the mercy of the weather. Kindergarten 1 pupils are housed in this decaying wooden structure due to the unavailability of a permanent classroom. Teachers complain snakes often enter the classrooms because the woods are decaying. They also lamented that no special teaching materials have been provided for the kindergarten and nursery departments, making teaching and learning difficult. Though there is a library facility, it is not spacious and there are no chairs and tables for pupils to sit and read. Out of 8 computers presented to the school by inhabitants of Ziavi Luma, only 2 are functional. Through communal labor, help of an NGO and the MP for the area, 2 3-unit classroom blocks have been constructed for the school. Natives of Ziaviluma, recognizing the significance of education, instituted an annual celebration to raise funds to help improve infrastructure in the school. Those who could not pay a levy imposed on them contributed foodstuff to be sold during the celebration. Funds from the celebration have been channeled to commence construction of another 3-unit classroom block, which is at the roofing level. Speaking to Joy News, Chairman of the Planning Committee, Wisdom Awude, noted that it has become necessary for residents to use self-help initiatives to shape the future of their young ones.
I normally watch on TV how newscasters or news readers go to rural setup to find out the problems they have with their communities. You see children studying under trees and at the end they say, oh, we appeal to the government to come to our aid to build them school, classroom and other things. But here we are doing our own initiative. This is not the first one. The ICT is not the first one. We've built classrooms for the pupil, the primary school, and then the JHS. We have a good school buildings for them. So what I will appeal to other people is that they should also take this initiative by themselves.
Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
President John Mahama says the Electricity Company of Ghana will not be privatized as is being speculated, and the Millennium Challenge Compact. It says it will remain a 100% public owned. He was speaking at the commissioning of a $35 million Ghanaian owned substation at the Tema industrial area in Accra.
Private sector participation in power distribution is not a new thing. Enclave Power is a private entity and has the concession to distribute power in the Free Zones Enclave, and they've been doing this since 2009. Everywhere in the world, private sector participation in many areas hitherto monopolized by government is being encouraged. This is leading to increased investment from the financial sector and the capital markets, and is introducing efficiency into the operations in those sectors. Power can be no different. And therefore, when people try to misinform the nation and the public by saying that our carrying out the reform in terms of allowing private sector participation in concessioning the distribution of power, by that we are privatizing ECG, it's absolutely untrue. Government has no intention of privatizing ECG. ECG is still a 100% government-owned entity and will remain a 100% government-owned entity. But nothing in our regulations stops private sector participation in managing concessions to distribute power to customers and give them efficient service than we have had in the past. We're making progress in overcoming the power gap. Power is being fed, increasing power is being fed into the grid, and over the last few weeks, at least some 200 new megawatts have been fed into the system, and we will continue to increase the power that is being fed into the system until the gap is eliminated completely by, according to my power minister's promise, year's end, for which I have put his neck on the block.
Well, President John Mahama has promised to revamp the Volta Aluminium Company, VALCO. The Tema-based smelting company is one of many state industries operating below its optimum capacity due to shortage of power. The President was in Tema on a working tour of some state industries. Gifty Andwapia has more.
VALCO smelts alumina to produce aluminium ingots. The company's major customers are Aluex, also producers of aluminium sheet, coils, corrugated roofing, louver blades, among others. Currently, both state entities produce at low capacity due to a general power crisis in the country. Interacting with workers at VALCO after inspecting the facility, President John Mahama said he had given directives for VALCO to be prioritized in terms of power distribution when the energy situation stabilizes.
If you see me here today, it is to express my confidence and belief in VALCO, that VALCO will rise again. I know that you've been going through challenging times, and that is because of the challenge that we face in this country as a whole. And so I just want to assure you, I've given the directives, as soon as we have enough power, any extra power should be given to VALCO so that you can expand your production. We currently are supplying you with some power at great cost to government, but because you are running one port line, you are not able to generate sufficient to be able to grow the business properly. And so we will mix in more legacy hydro as soon as we have more power coming in, so that you can get power at a cheaper cost, because you are in competition with other smelters all over the world. And so we must look at how much they are getting power so that your products can compete, because you are all on the same international market.
The President also inspected Aluex with an assurance to the workforce that government will deal with the substandard goods competing unfavorably with their products on the market.
And so if we're able to increase the amount of raw material VALCO is producing, then it will allow you to increase your production to a more optimum capacity than you currently are doing. I just want to assure you that government is behind you, and we will continue to encourage and do everything possible for you to be able to carry out your work. He has raised the issue of dumping, that is products that are dumped from the Far East, you know, at prices that are below the cost of production. If you notice, I'm here with the Minister of Trade and Industry and also with the Minister of Power. And so those discussions have been held, and we will see how to use the mechanisms that we have to try and stop people from dumping substandard products on our market.
The two entities promise immense potential for the economy if fully functional. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Tema Industrial Area.
Coming up next, we bring you business news. But still to come, the World Health Organization is warning the headset or earphones may be cool and all, except over 1 billion people around the world risk hearing impairment from inappropriate use. We'll be back after the break.
Still on the IMF, government says it is anticipating about $500 million in inflows from countries' donor partners in the next few weeks. Deputy Finance Minister Kaisel Atufos explains the expected inflows are mainly funds from donor partners held on to over about concerns the management of the economy. The Deputy Minister tells Joy Business his confidence is founded on positive feedback since the approval of the IMF package.
This morning we've had meetings, and I know the World Bank is going for a board meeting on the 16th of June to discuss development policy fund financing. We've just written the letter for development policy operation going to the World Bank, and that is going to be additional financing. So the process is ongoing, and what the fund agreement does signals confidence, signals stability, and in the end the investor will respond accordingly. It's been very positive.
MTN Ghana has launched the Season 2 of its MTN Heroes of Change project. This means that from Wednesday, April 15 to 16 June this year, interested applicants can nominate their heroes in their community to participate in the project. Corporate Services Executive of MTN, Cynthia Lumo, tells Joy Business the 13-week project will focus on people changing lives in the area of education, health, and economic empowerment.
Last year, we completed the Season 1 of the MTN Heroes of Change. And basically, the Heroes of Change is to give MTN an opportunity to reward people all over Ghana who are giving back to their communities in extraordinary ways. So we opened up these nominations all over Ghana. If you know somebody who is giving back in extraordinary ways, nominate that person. And once we come up with a short list, that is, the judges come up with a short list of 10 people, everybody in that short list is going to receive something. So the ultimate winner is going to get 100,000 Ghana cedis to reinvest in whatever project they win for, to make it an even better prospect of giving back to the community. Then 3 category winners are going to get 20,000 Ghana cedis each, also to reinvest in their projects. And then the remaining 7 will also receive 5,000 Ghana cedis each. And the MTN Ghana Foundation is doing this to recognize people who otherwise would probably be unacknowledged, but also to encourage all of us to do the same.
Now, Minister for Trade and Industry, Dr. Ekospio Gabra, says Ghana is set to partner with over 13 Indian companies in the local production of sugar. Between $300 to $400 million is expected to be invested in the venture over the next 3 months. The Trade and Industry Minister explains the move forms part of measures to boost local production as well as reduce the about $500 million used in the imports of sugar annually.
Several Indian companies interested in Ghana's sugar industry in particular. They've gone up and down the countryside. They've gone all the way to the north, to the Savelugu, to the Buipe area. They've seen the Afram Plains. They've come below the Volta Lake. They've seen the Commander opportunities. They've seen the Suchuari areas. They are sizing up the soil conditions and the, other agronomic factors, temperature, the challenge of insecticides and, insects or other weedicides, etc., to decide where is the best location to site their plantations and their factories. They need a lot of land. That's one of the biggest challenges, almost 100,000 hectares of land throughout the country. And these are huge projects, $300 million, $400 million projects.
When do we
The announcements will be made. I'm sure they will be made this year because they are very eager, very anxious to move quickly. They need to do this as quickly as we want them to do it. So before the end of this year, by God's grace, you will hear a couple of announcements on this.
All right, so that's it for business. My name is Etonamsi. George is standing by with sports.
Let's start sports, and there's a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, we talk about the Ghana Football Association because President Kwesi Nyantakyi has exclusively told Joy Sports the decision to conceal the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations bid results was agreed at the CAF Executive Committee meeting. Some officials of Ghana's bid committee have had cause to question the credibility of the voting process over allegations it lacks the requisite transparency. But Ghana FA President Kwesi Nyantakyi, who serves on CAF's Executive Committee, says the decision to not have declared the voting cannot be an index of classifying the process as radically flawed and unfair.
It depends on what the executive committee decides. At the last meeting, we decided that it should not be published, and that is it.
Any particular reasons why?
There was a discussion at the meeting, and members felt that when the details are given out, it leads to acrimonious consequences, and so it's better just to announce the winner. A majority of the members supported it, without any prejudices for or against anybody.
We continue our build-up to the Joy Sports Invitational that takes place this Saturday, and Cargill Ghana Limited, a cocoa processing company based in Tema, is making a strong case to win the Team Spirit Award this Saturday, certainly at the Owak Stadium, where 19 other teams join them for Season 8 of the Joy Sports Invitational. Martin Kansa coaches the male team, and Cynthia Enim coaches the female team of Cargill Ghana Limited.
Just arrived from Holland with all the tatters. Come Saturday, we deploy one of the tactics yet known to football. This tactics is known as the 191 formation. Also known as the police tactics, 191 formation. That will make us invisible on the park. We are coming like we are not coming.
Okay, so we'll find out what happens, 191 formation or all. But of course, Team Multimedia will be doing a lot. I mean, Israeli and the likes will all be playing some football on the day. So there's a lot to look ahead through. And of course, you see me in the number 7 jersey, of course, playing there for Team Multimedia. Now let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. And there's quite a lot to look at that because the teams have been doing quite well. And it's defending champions Real Madrid, who have a lot of work to do. We'll be having a look at that to just find out how it all goes into that. Real Madrid drew goalless with Atletico Madrid. That's the first game that was played, of course. And in the second game, we know what happened in there. Juventus managed to win by 1-0. So quickly turn over and find out what's happening there on our screen. Straight away we get into it, and as we look at it, the first game, it's Atletico Madrid who managed to draw goal to Real Madrid. It's a very, very good result for them going into all of this. Real Madrid play the next game at the Santiago Bernabeu, so they have to prove the worth if they want to stay in as defending champions. Just somewhere Juventus managed to win by 1-0. It's the man Arturo Vidal who got the goal for them. Exciting start for Juventus going to this. The second leg will be played in France. Just wrapping it up in terms of what to expect in all of that. That'll be all for sports tonight. I'm George Adder Jr. Israel will join us with some more. You have a good night.
Now, headphones, once associated with a portable music playing device called the Walkman, has become a vital accessory for mobile phones and other electronic gadgets. An increasing number of people are plugging them into their ears because they are convenient and assure users of confidential listening. Health experts, however, fear many of those using earphones are unaware how harmful they could be. Bibi Pedua Afol in the following report says, as pretty and cool as they are, they could be very harmful to your ears.
Casually referred to as the earpiece or hands-free, one is bound to find a pair in almost any mobile phone package. That way, you can conveniently answer your phone calls, enjoy music or your favorite radio station, listen to your voice notes, or even watch those quirky videos that keep making the rounds on social media. There are those, however, who would want to invest a lot more for their listening pleasure and so would go for more elaborate and stylish headphones. The danger, however, is that many are gradually destroying their sense of hearing unknowingly.
I enjoy music. I like listening to reggae music, so my earphone is always inside my ears, listening to music. Yeah, I often use it as call. I use it to make call. I use it to do everything. Sometimes I even sleep with it.
When I'm in the market, I don't want to listen to anybody. I put my earpiece and listen to my music. The volume, sometimes, if I don't want to listen to anybody at all, I increase the volume because to pay my attention, to focus on what I'm listening to.
The World Health Organization, in its 2015 report, estimates that 1.1 billion people are at risk of permanent hearing loss due to unsafe listening. 50% of this figure represents the youth, who are largely guilty of using these gadgets. Though some of the modern devices, such as this BlackBerry, warn users about excessive volume levels, many tend to ignore. Other users, though fully aware of the dangers, say they are hooked on listening at high volumes.
News and I'm sports, but they are sports news.
I use the earpiece all the time to monitor the news and sports on radio. I've been warned about its effects on the ear, but I'm sort of addicted to it. I sometimes have difficulty in hearing.
But sports in there,
a senior audiologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Jemima Anwafin, explains how the earpiece can affect one's hearing.
The anatomy of the ear has ways of reducing sound getting into the ear. So when we are using the earpiece, you are bypassing that because we have the pinna and then the ear canal. So once you put the earpiece deeper into the ear, it means that now you are increasing the intensity of the sound more than it should go into your ear. Unlike maybe you are using the headphones, the intensity is louder with the earpiece. So if you are using an earpiece in your ear, and I always say that if somebody can hear the sound of your music from outside, or another person can hear you when you are listening with the earpiece, then the sound is too loud for you. It tends to damage the outer hair cells, and then usually you begin the exposure, and then you get a temporary loss of hearing. You can get noise ringing in the ear as well, and fullness in the ear.
She offers a simple test of what harmful listening is.
If you are using the earpiece, we advise at least you reduce the volume. Because normal conversation is around 60 decibels. Yes, so if you are reducing the volume, you can't really measure, but if it's too loud, you'll be aware that it's too loud. Yes, and you can use it within just about an hour throughout the day. So it can be reduced into 15 minutes per time that you are listening, so that you can meet your 1 hour within the 24 hours.
Salifu, who sells earpieces, would not want a ban on their use, and so has been advising his customers about its proper use.
It's like even white people, they created the earpiece, but they don't use it like the way we are using it. You understand it? You understand it? So I don't know. Sometimes, black man have black this thing. You understand it? When you use it, you think you are enjoying it. You understand it? It's not like that. It's low. If you are enjoying it, at least you have to lower the volume. You understand it? So that you can listen. In case someone is calling you, you can hear the person. You understand it? But we black, sometimes when you are using it, we open the volume louder, like someone is calling you. You can't hear anything from them. You understand it? That's the problem. So sometimes when they came to buy, we used to advise them, but sometimes they don't listen.
The hearing impairment hazard remains real, especially considering many people are opting for the earpiece. Hopefully, those stories such as this would alert you excessive use could lead to hearing loss, and you wouldn't want that. Bibi Bedua Affles report for Joy News.
Well, a word to the wise needs to be heard. And that's it for the bulletin. Before we work, quick run through our top stories. Over 500 nurses and midwives at the Ridge Hospital in Accra abandoned work over unpaid March salaries. Elsewhere, patients at the La General Hospital are asking government to urgently fix faulty elevators. They say it's forcing pregnant women to endanger their lives by going up flights of stairs to seek medical care. Government resolves to stop residents of the 3 regions in the north of Ghana from using violence to settle their differences. And President Mahama is assuring the Electricity Company of Ghana will remain a wholly state-owned enterprise. Contrary to suggestions, it will be privatized under the Millennium Challenge Compact recently signed with the US. That's it. My name is Uzulai. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
This is Joy News.